Fixing your grug, are you?
Yeah. And we're live.
What are you doing, babe?
I'll remember it in a second. Am I alright?
Yep. Good evening.
Good evening.
Kunna sata too.
Tá me go maith ag tusa. Tú féin.
Well, you can say agus tusa or too fain. Too fain is slightly more polite.
Why? What's what I'm saying?
It's the difference between formal and less formal.
Well, you're my husband, so I don't need to be formal with
No.
you.
No. Mr. Ford, good evening. Top of the list.
Top of the morning to you, Mr. Ford. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Got hair on your glass.
Where?
Right beside the rabbit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Johnny
Johnny be good.
Johnny Docahedron.
What are you
Learn to spell Decadron or whatever it is.
I said Johnny Decahedron.
You won't,
Decahedron. All right, very
you
good.
won't be able to continue to change your
Hi, Laura.
thing like that, will you, Christian?
What?
Good evening, pharmacist dude over the counter. Good evening, Laura. I
Because
can
in
take
case
these out now.
there has to be a delay in it. Nothing is completely live.
Such a giveaway.
Yeah, but like, I know where streamers have delays on, so people can hack into their games and all, but like, for like game streaming.
Are you taking part this week?
Yeah.
You had all day to do your notes. And I sit down I go to the trouble of setting this up for you.
Are you really on it and I'm me today?
No.
Grant.
Hi Johnny. Oh yeah.
Johnny be good.
De-hair him now.
De-hair me?
Yeah.
What do you mean de-hair me?
De-hair you.
De-hair you. Shave your head.
Talking about shaving your head last week. No, this is why you
Any
break those
relation to Johnny
headphones the way
Rotten?
you pull
Oh,
out them.
I'd say definitely. Same attitude. Same attitude.
Comfortable.
So we get straight down into it then.
Stick them?
Straight down into it. I was going to say what you want to talk about, but I have a couple of things, and then we can get down to talking about. Remember, we were going to talk about weight issues. Remember, it was quite an interesting topic. If we get there.
If I have the patience.
So first things first, we're thinking of taking next Friday off because it's Good Friday. So I can't imagine.
Deeply
I can't
religious.
imagine people will be watching YouTube stuff online, especially the UK, because you'll be out of lockdown probably, or
You're
something.
so
like that.
lucky.
Or maybe it won't be by then. But I think I'm feeling a bit. I was a bit tired now tonight. I have to say, I do look forward to these, but I've been out and about all week, and I was a bit tired tonight. So I think to pause one show, probably no harm. So that's the first thing.
I'm going to stay in bed all day Friday next week.
See, you say that, but I know you won't.
No.
I know you won't. I know you're the energizer bunny. It'd take an elephant rifle to take you down. It would. So that's the thing. Need to get my be right back. Need to get wine. Very good. Scoffing Easter eggs. Yeah, look, I think I'd say there's no point in putting up a show if people are off. But also, I think I wouldn't mind a Friday off. Not that this is hard work or anything like that, and I thoroughly enjoy it. But I think I don't know what the story is now with me being off. We usually are permitted to take either the whole day or half a day, gratis, because it's Good Friday. I'll have to have a think about what I'm doing. I usually do a bit of work in the morning. I usually like to go into the office in the morning and then quit it around lunchtime, because that's what everyone else does, and then go home. Why are you pulling that face?
Christian, it's well for some. Not well some. Well for some.
The other news is so we were just this is episode 20, believe it or not, and under Vanessa's instruction, I have taken down all the other podcasts off the channel. I've noticed the channel is struggling a little bit lately. We're going backwards big time. We've lost a lot. So I think maybe what I noticed in the past was that when we start putting up videos that weren't around about traveling and so on, that people started to unsubscribe because I think they thought that maybe that's what it is. Either that, or I think from time to time we might get a lot of spam. I either see mads, we get spam as well, and I think YouTube culls them. But there is a piece around, I'd say, if people are following the channel and they're watching the videos and all of a sudden they come across all these podcasts which aren't supposed to be here. I think sometimes we had that before, didn't we?
We had it when I was doing the live videos last year.
And I was
workouts.
Yeah, and so I think again to kind of keep the channel sort of somewhat healthy, I don't want to kind of go backwards. Like I work hard enough for trying to keep the channel going. I don't want to go backwards, and it is difficult to. It's difficult at the moment. Are we in focus? It's difficult at the moment to. It's difficult at the moment to add content because all the videos are the same. Really, it's us up in Slade, which in itself isn't bad. Which in itself isn't bad. It'll pop back out now in a second. But I just think that
you're showing them your beard growth, were you?
I think the videos are. They're just a bit samey, and I'm actually getting a bit fed up of doing them. Not fed up, that's the wrong word. The going away to do the videos is as much a part of it to me, and so again they're feeling it probably not forced, but they're bordering on it. Anyway,
we can't put up any more Cali content. Pharmacists do it over the counter because we can't go anywhere in the bloody Cali.
Yeah, you see, we're not allowed to leave within 5k, and I want to do that 5-year video. That's the first proper video I'm going to do when I get out. Once we get, I'm going to do the 5-year review, and then immediately go traveling. But I don't want to do it. There's nowhere to go where we'd have peace and quiet to do it. I don't want to do it in the driveway. I don't want to do it on the side of some road. The place I did it the last time was up in Sally's Gap, up in Dublin, and it's I pulled in off the road. It's like a little logging road, and I was able to pull in. It was a little cul-de-sac, and I had the place to myself. It was fantastic. So I could send the drone up. No one was disturbing me, and I wasn't a million miles off the beaten track, but it looked like it was in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of cool. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's that. Let's see. So more Cali content, yeah. Uninspired. Yorkshire Pop Top Adventures are filming on the driveway. Are they? Well, good for them. Good for them. Pharmacists do it over the counter.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't. There's too many children and stuff like that around that you just wouldn't want to be capturing in the background of videos.
No, that wouldn't bother me at all. I just wouldn't be able to relax.
It would bother me because I wouldn't appreciate if someone was capturing him in a video.
The last real, not taboo, but the last real thing about doing the one last hang up for me with doing videos is talking into it when no one is around. Not that I get self-conscious as much as I used to, but it is. Certainly, if I was out in the driveway doing it, I'd feel like a bit of a prat, and I think you're kind of on some level handing ammunition for your neighbours to start twitching curtains and kind of going on about you being an idiot and who do you think you are. Especially when they look at your channel and they go, "You're doing it 5 years and you have 2,000 subscribers." I mean, Aaron's doing his channel. I don't know how long. But I'm only saying that Aaron's on this nice trajectory, and we seem to be as usual.
But we're not putting content up every other day.
Stalling. No, it's not that. I don't know. It's purely. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a bit of an abstract thing with me at this stage, anyway. So and I don't want to bore people going on about that kind of stuff. Oh really? Laura, you make me feel guilty now. Or saying it's the only conversation we have. That's terrible, Laura. And look, and then of course, well, I was going to say you could watch the videos back, but I've taken them all down. You'll just have to watch it. But that's terrible. I feel bad now. But
I think we just need a little bit of a Friday night off, don't we?
Yeah.
Are you contemplating it now?
No. I think. Oh, this is the delay. Okay, fair enough. So I think, look, Laura, I think, I don't know. Sorry, Laura. it was funny. It kind of occurred to me last week that I wouldn't know. Like YouTube will tell me what the demographic is of everyone watching the video, but the fact that so many of you are getting the jab means it's an older generation watching the videos.
And in Britain.
And on some level, I was thinking then there's probably I don't know, but like I think there's probably a level of appeal to older people, because if you're on your own or your family are away and stuff like that as well, it's sort of someone to listen to and talk to for an hour, real people that you can interact with, you know. It's not like
real life curry.
Yeah, well, it's as if we were there, because I often thought, like I was thinking, you know, it'd be great to meet you someday, Laura, like if we were ever over in the UK and we called into you, you know. Now you know yourself, you know, we burst the bubble and all of a sudden you meet us in person and you go, they're horrible in reality, they're even worse. But I think there is a piece around, it'd be nice to do something like that and to call to you. So maybe one day, maybe one of these days.
I might think that about you. She might think about me and Christian.
What?
That you're horrible. Not think that about me and Christian.
No.
We're lovely.
So the second thing, the interesting thing I wanted to talk about, and then we'll get into your conversation, right, is, so someone mentioned last week that a Bus and Beyond, a Bus and Beyond are selling their Cali. So that was it. It's their van. They're entitled to do whatever they want to do with it. And as I've said before, I don't really watch videos anymore about vans and things like that. I used to watch them a lot, but I don't anymore. So a Bus and Beyond doing off, well, you know, fair play to them, and they're doing really well. I think reviews of vans and stuff like that, I'm not into it anymore as much as I used to be, right? So there's a place for that. But they sold a van, and then coincidentally on the VW forum, the VW California forum, or whatever it's called, I can never remember the name of it. It'd be interesting to know how many people follow it. But they someone put up a comment, a topic saying, had they been, that's why I wanted to have a look at it to see exactly what it was. But what they said was that had they been duped or like fooled in some way, you know. Let me just see now here what it is. Where is it? Here we go. Yeah, have I got it right for once. Have I been duped? And so, or duped. And they're saying, had I been duped? So what they were saying was that they bought into buying the Cali because of I don't know if they're saying
influenced.
I don't know if they're saying by a Bus and Beyond, yeah. But what they said was that have I been duped? We found the Cali camper family interesting, useful. As like, no, that's not it. Where is it? Where's the start? Where's the stream? Where's the thing start? Anyway, the gist of it is that people influenced them into buying the California, and then they turned around and they sold it. And
you're allowed move on, though.
Well, no. The point I was going to make was that it's a real interesting thing, because there are some people are a little bit, not many now. I haven't, so I have to be careful. I don't want to kind of go on as if I read the whole thing inside out, and I only read it last week, and that was it. But they were saying, had they been duped? And then people were kind of saying maybe a little bit, but then other people were kind of going no. And they have a very loyal following. They really do. There's some people out there who really defended them, and actually, in fairness, like a Bus and Beyond weighed into the conversation anyway themselves. And they said there's a lot of, it's interesting to read the speculation. Now I'm paraphrasing and all this, right? So that's, but it was just interesting to see that how, you know, if you are influenced by somebody to buy a California, and then when they go and sell it, you probably do feel a little bit, you know, I bought it because they did it. But I think from day one, we've said we have a love-hate relationship. That's probably part of the reason our channel doesn't do as well as it could, because I'm constantly giving out about the van. And I think there's a level of, we're not commercial in that we didn't go down the road of kind of saying how great VW were all the time and stuff, and it's warts and all with us. But it's just interesting to see how people can turn on you when you sell your van. That there's a kind of like, you know, how dare you sell your California? And you're kind of going, well, and the other thing is there's the traveling togs remember that there was the photographers, there were Scottish photographers, and I thought they were fine, and they took some beautiful photographs, and they'd got to California, and very quickly then they got rid of it. And there was another Mel's fan or something. Remember her? Remember she had it? She didn't have it that long, and she went around and she sold it as well. She got rid of it. And
why the quick turnaround for people, I wonder?
Well, I think because people probably get them and then realize. Now I don't know, right? I don't know. I'm speculating here, but people probably get them and then realize that the California is full of limitations. So a bus and beyond were saying that the I can't think of the lady's name, the wife anyway, she said she had described it as the Swiss Army knife. And I think we may have considered that phrase ourselves, but I don't know if strictly speaking that is correct, because a Swiss Army knife, if it showed up without a main blade, which I would consider a shower on the toilet, right? I'd go, it's not really a Swiss Army knife. It probably has a corkscrew, and it probably has the fish boning knife and something like that, but it's missing some key elements that I wouldn't consider the California to be the Swiss Army knife. I think it would be more like a spork. It's that kind of thing. That's effectively what I consider it. There's no knife, but you've got a spoon and a fork.
I'd call it a bedsit.
A bedsit.
Yeah, you have your own little cooker in your own bed, but you have to share the jacks with somebody else.
Yeah. So, but I just my heart went out to them a little bit because I felt a bit sorry. I thought they'd been they do a lot of good work. Their channel has huge followers and they're very loyal. They were well defended, I think. So fair ball to them. And I don't think people were taking any guff, but it was just interesting to see someone kind of saying, have I been... Now, again, it was probably an open-ended question. The person could have been... It could have been a rhetorical question in that, have I been duped? But I think if someone bought a van because we said to buy it, I'd be kind of going, well, you need your head tested, because the amount of money that you've spent on that van, all because of the say-so. Now, saying that, I saw it in Andy Peters. Boom. Bought. That was it. I saw it that morning with bang. That was it. I'm getting it. But he didn't. He just was going on about it's a good van.
Prize.
Yeah, it wasn't his.
He wasn't trying to sell it.
Yeah. So. But I went over there and we had a look and I went, yeah, because it is. It's not. In my mind, the van is not a mobile home thing, right? It is better than a car. Right. So it's basically, in my mind, it's a step up from a car. But it's not this shower and you can stand up and cook and all that kind of bells and whistles. So it's seriously compromised. We pull on to campsites. Remember when we were going around into campsites, and we'd pull into campsites and you'd see people would drive in and park, and boom, they were done, and then their seats turned and they were watching the telly and they were cooking their pizza. We would be going in and kind of going, okay.
We'd have an hour ahead, wasn't it?
Yeah, especially when we were doing stuff like the tents and everything like that as well. And so, but now we don't do that anymore. I think if we pull into a campsite, and the whole idea is that we'd really be parking and sleeping in the van overnight, but then using it as a car the next day.
We'll throw the awning out, and that'd be it. Yeah.
Well, like if we went to Italy again, say we went to that place, I wouldn't bother with a tent or any of that crap, right? No. I just wouldn't, right? Because the whole idea is that I'd go in, park the van sideways, put the roof up, sleep there overnight and then gone. But then I think the thing is, I don't think I'll ever camp in a campsite again unless I have to. I'm exaggerating, but
certainly not for like 10 days.
No, because we're still up till that point. We were still in holiday in a hotel mode, I think, and I think that trip was the last straw for me of kind of going. Staying in a campsite is not a hotel.
Well, I suppose that trip showed us as well that the van isn't really for that. It's for going, spending 1, possibly 2 nights somewhere and moving on. Yeah. That's what that van's for. If you want to go and spend 10 nights, you need to bring a mobile home attached to the back of your car. Yeah. And one of those big awning tents. Yeah. And they're fantastic, because remember, I was looking at it, I was going, I love that. Yeah. For what they were doing. Yeah. They were staying there, they were set up, like the setup next to us was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And like, that was brilliant what they had. And I was going, yeah, I'd do that. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. But for what we want, it's more, you go a night, possibly 2. Yeah. If you're looking for a big rest or something like that. Yeah. And then move on, go somewhere else.
Well, I think that my view is that I don't know how much we spent on that campsite. What was it, 12 or 1,500 euro or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'd keep the 1,500 euro in my pocket. I'd probably stay in the odd campsite if I saw one that was convenient. But I think I'd probably be inclined to stay in hotels, right? Like cheapy enough hotels. And then wild camp. So I don't think I'll ever stay put again in the van. I say that now, but I don't think I will. So, but I think these are the things that I'd say that we've just... The van has gone from being an unknown to us to a pain in the neck and a nightmare. But now I think we've come around to realise, and you know what? This van is designed to wild camp and to be travelling all the time. And that's the best use for it. And actually that suits me, because I think staying put in a place like where we stayed, I'd much prefer to leave the Cali at home. Like we were going to do for your holiday, right? Your birthday. We were going to leave the Cali at home, fly to Sicily, and then stay in a hotel for the week. And then I think, so that's the whole idea. I think that's the thing. So I just thought it was a bit harsh, people saying that, you know, to say that because they'd sold their van, and then people were saying the togs were very boring. And I thought, that's not nice at all. In the same way, we're not everybody's cup of tea. But I just thought to say to people, oh, they sold a van and they were boring anyway, and they could talk for half an hour about nothing. Hello, that's me. I could talk for 2 hours about nothing. But I just thought it was a bit harsh. And I think that people are well within their rights to sell a van if they want to.
People have opinions and they don't mind sharing them. What are e-bikes? I'm looking at the chat coming in there.
Electric bikes.
Ginger Barry came in and he said hi, but he has to go. See you next week.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay.
And then the guys are just talking about e-bikes and the price that they sold, the Bus and Beyond sold their van for. They're saying maybe there was another 10 grand left on the table.
Right now, let's see. I look forward to your post. Thank you, Mr. Ford. I look forward to doing them. So do you, don't you? Don't be. I think these are great. Thanks, Laura. Sold it buying a crafter. Yeah. So they sold it to get something more convenient. Like they've a baby now, and the dog and everything like that. But I think, see, I don't know. The UK, we're so restricted here with heights. It's a nightmare. So if you could wild camp in a really tall van like that, or head to the continent, but I think we
saw a massive amount of them in the continent.
And not only that, I think again for me, like I said, the California is the only van I've ever been in. So if they've done loads of reviews, so they can't help be tempted into seeing
if they see something that they feel is better and more suited to them.
Yeah, and then sell the California where you can still get value out of it.
And listen, just because we bought this house doesn't mean that we can't ever sell it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For fear of one of the neighbours getting upset because they bought one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
People have a right to change their mind.
They do, but yeah. Well, you know. So let's see. So, it's the accents I love. Their accents, is it?
I think it's their accents.
Or ours? Okay. Gotta love influencers. No, it's influencers, not influencers.
Influencers.
I don't know. Okay. Hi guys. Okay. Man, Ginger. They undersold it. Yeah. So, but if you actually watch the video, right, of what he says, he was saying that they didn't want to be greedy. They were clearly looking to sell it quickly, and they were being reasonable. And he sold it at €43,000. They didn't seem to use. They bought it, or 43. They bought it for £53,000 or something, or 57 maybe. I'm not sure. But it's a second-hand vehicle, and you lose a huge amount of value the minute you drive it off the forecourt. But he undersold it. But I'd say they wanted to just get rid of it and have it gone, and fair ball to them. So maybe
we did look at those electric bikes. Remember the people up in Derry had them. The two
electric bikes.
Were they two Germans? I'm gonna say.
I don't know. Were they Germans?
I don't know.
Where?
Remember up in Derry, the older lady and gentleman that came in, they pulled in beside us.
Yeah.
And they had the electric bikes on the back of their camper.
Yeah. It's just a bike with a battery. That's all.
We were thinking about getting them then. Do you remember?
Yeah. Remember, I when I crossed. So in Ireland, where we live near the Sally's Gap, it's basically there's a really long, steep climb up to the top of it, right, on the road. And I walked it one day, right. So it was like a 50-kilometer walk, wasn't it? And I did it. And when I was walking up the steep hill, I was super fit at the time. I was training to do marathons, and I was walking up the hill, and the hill's like this, right? Isn't it? It's literally like
it's
this.
definitely like that.
It's like this. The
Just
hill's that
one.
way. And I went up the hill.
Has eyes too.
And next thing, up beside me came this older lady cycling her bike up the hill. And I was like, going, like she must have been 90. And I was going, fair ball to her. I couldn't believe it because it looked effortless. It was like she was barely cycling. And I remember I'd seen cyclists, young men, climbing that hill, you know, low gears, trying to get up it. And then I spotted the battery pack. And I was going, ah. So the stupid prices people are paying encourages this behaviour. Yes, people are paying a lot for them. And I think I agree, there is a certain amount of hype. And if we didn't have the quality issues that we'd had with the van, I would say, no, I don't know. But we've had so many quality issues that you're definitely not getting quality for your money. I'd love to see the breakdown of what went on the van. Well, you could do that because I can see how much you paid for the 4Motion, how much we paid for the radio, how much we paid for
I suppose find out how much a transporter is, then add on your optional extras.
Yeah.
And then that's the rest of it is what you paid for the
Well, presumably
California.
a very high spec 4Motion transporter is probably going to cost you something like 30 something K. So maybe the interior and the roof and all, is maybe 15 or 20. Because the base model comes in at about €50,000. But then by the time you finish adding all the bits and pieces and stuff like that as well. So I don't know. Let's just see. 17 plate fan. I thought it was cheap, but sold in 10 hours. There you go. You see, get rid of it, and then you don't have to deal with all the tire kickers and all that kind of stuff. And not only that, I'd say people would start to probably say they can't sell it. You know, there's no pleasing some people anyway. We had have I skipped anyone? 4 years old and still under extended warranty. Easy 10K left on the table. Yeah, but look, it's their property. It's their 10 grand, you know. That's the thing. And I think it was gone so quickly. So clearly someone saw a bargain. And I think my understanding from the way he was talking was that they were kind of giving back to the community. Let's face it, they've probably made quite a bit on their YouTube channel, presumably. You know, with the amount of views they get. They've
had holidays and stuff like that off the back of companies. So
yeah, so it's being having the van is being good for them. You know, it's been good for them, and look, it's launched them into having a career where they do van reviews and everything like that. And you guys lap it up. It's just they put up
data going to that.
They put up a video and it's getting 50,000 views like this. That's amazing. Okay. So get e-bikes. Oh, sorry. So we had a T5 way too small and our ages and the roof wasn't. Yeah. Only went away in it twice. Yeah. See, it's not for everyone. Not for I would say to people to rent them, but I don't think that would work either, because I think if you rented it and went away in it, you definitely wouldn't get one. That's a nightmare. Okay. So best money we spent. Oh, on the e-bikes. Okay. We want to. Week in Sicily, driving makes no sense. No, well, I was going to, but I think it would be kind of we were off for a month. You know, that's the thing. And we have a California and twin axle caravan at the minute. Okay. Very good.
That sounds like something I run, doesn't it?
Who sold their van? Bus and Beyond. If there's nothing to say, jog on. Bus. Okay. Driving is a big part of some people's holidays. Yeah. Now so Philip, to answer that, I do like driving. So for me, driving all over the place is. Good day, Mr. Knight. I like it. My hip doesn't let me walk. The e-bike is fab. Yeah. No, I'd say it's on the get list for us. The Cali is unique, functionality wise and resale value. Yeah. I love mine. I love having it.
There isn't a great resale value on them.
Well.
There's not. You've looked into it, to the prices of them. There's not.
No, you see, I was looking to trade it in.
Oh, okay.
So when you trade in, you're effectively giving away a fair route.
Well, there certainly wouldn't be on ours anyway. The amount of moaning we've done about it.
If we sold, I know. Like if you consider, everything that was faulty was fixed.
True.
And it's 5 years old and is we're just coming up on 36,000 kilometers. You know, like it's practically brand new. we're only breaking it in.
Cheap at twice the price,
We're only
Joe.
breaking
Cheap
it in.
at
But
twice the price.
we won't be selling it because I agree with you, pharmacists over the counter.
Mm.
They are brilliant, like, you know, so we won't be selling it. Bus and Beyond did a breakdown of costs. Yeah, I saw that. I did see that, but I'll be honest.
We were not comparing like for like, though.
Huh?
We're not comparing like for like with them.
Why?
Because it's more expensive for anything to do with a car in Ireland.
Well, yeah, we pay 2 taxes on all the vehicles here. We pay VAT and VRT. So, yeah, you're not really comparing. You do get better deals in the UK than we get here. But saying that, I remember when we went to Fantastival here, and we'd got our van, and it was all new and beautiful. And then the following year, we went to Fantastival or something like that a year later, and some guy drove in ours is 161. He drove in a 172, and it was even higher spec than ours. And I was like, God damn it. I was like, oh, I knew it. I knew we should have got all those extras. But so I can understand someone buying a van and they're going through that kind of phase. It's the new shoes phase. It's when you're so in love with the van that you can see that if you bought it because someone bought it and then they sold it, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth. But I think after 4 or 5 years of living with the van, you'll definitely know whether you like it or not. And so they have their places. You do have to shop around. I ordered mine from Holland. Very good. And is it they're driving on the right side or the left side or whatever? Seen for sale 53. I've not lost pounds. See, there you go. See, we were, what's that? You could only do a private sale. Yeah, I think private sale you're definitely getting more for it. But I don't know how. I wouldn't know how to go about selling it privately. You just advertise it, is it?
Yeah.
And then people just call to the door. And what do you do?
So,
What do you get for? I mean, how do you know they're not going to give you a rubber check and they drive away? And
Dundee, oh no, you'd get them to transfer the money.
really,
Yeah.
before is it?
Well, it'd need to be, you'd go to the bank with them.
Oh, is that how you do it? Is it? Really?
Especially for such a high value, yeah.
Yeah, because I often wonder that if you want to
Yeah.
sell it, how do you sell it? It's not like someone's just going to give you cash. Although if they did. Although I wouldn't fancy that amount of cash knocking around the house because they could call back that evening. Left-hand drive. Bus and Beyond was low spec, but the market DOA second hand now seems stronger on your promotion. I would say it's very desirable. Yeah. For me, I think if I was ever going to get rid of it, it would be trading it in against something else. I don't think I'd sell it privately. But obviously, if I dropped out of a heart attack in the morning, you wouldn't
It'd be
replace
gone.
it. So you'd have to figure out how to sell it.
You'd be buried in it.
Yeah.
Or sorry, you're getting cremated, so and you will be burned together.
What you could do is just drive me to the cliffs of Moher and drive me off the edge.
You get cremated.
I sure am, buddy.
No van till money is transferred to your account. Okay, so that's how it's done. But then how does that person? How if you're scamming them?
You go to the bank with them and then hand them the keys when the transfer is done.
Ah, is that the way it works?
Yeah.
Right.
What way did you think it
I've
would
no
work?
idea. I often
They
that's why I
send you
said
the check in the post and you send the keys to them in the post?
No, I don't know. I've never
And you have
sold
to
anything
remember as well,
privately.
you still have the logbook until that. So no matter what they do, if they took the van anyway,
Yeah.
you have the logbook, so it's still yours technically.
Well, remember I had my Aventus a million years ago, back in 2000. I had a brand new Aventus, and then I changed jobs, and the job came with a car, and I was saying no, I have my own car, and they said no, take the car. So I had to sell. So I was going to sell it privately, but I rang the garage I bought it from because it was a very high spec. I like high spec cars, and I got it, and I rang them and I said, look, I'm selling this privately. What should I ask for it? And they said, well, let us have a look at it, and we might buy it off.
And they won't give you the money.
They didn't know. I probably could have got more, but again, it was a company that I bought it from, and they, it's just quick.
You were
and
buying
it was
another
quick.
car though.
It was
Then
quick
after
and
remember
handy.
you decided.
I think I lost about $5,000, but I don't think it was hugely hit because the car was immaculate and I really looked at it.
But you not remember the funny story around that?
What?
You were buying an automatic Yaris then. For your partner.
Yeah.
And
My
then,
ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. And then you ended up splitting up, so you had to sell that back to them. I lost as well.
No, I think I cancelled that.
Oh, was it?
I cancelled that. Yeah, I think I can. Yeah. She was getting a car, and and actually, side story was that what she wanted, what she actually came after was half the value of the car. So she said to me, I want half the value of that car. So, because it's in our name, or something, or she'd help me pay for it as far as she was concerned, right? And I said to her, well, the bank owns it, so you can go to them. I can sell it, but I have to give the money back to the bank, so there's no benefit in it. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll have to take on the payments and pay for it all on my own. Then I ended up getting rid of it, yeah. But she was being...
Because I was contemplating buying it, remember?
She was being ill-advised, yeah. Can't be much different in Ireland. You should trade up to the new Chinese Maxus double-decker camper van only for... Okay. Take two. We'll take two, we'll see. The bank draft exchange maybe... bank draft exchange. My wife sold her car and they were exchanging money with the phones. I was lost. Right.
Yeah, because if you're the same bank, it goes nearly instantaneously.
Yeah. Well, you'd want to draft, but you'd want to say, I want to withdraw the draft here in the bank. I'll go to your bank with you.
But if I was buying something off you,
yeah,
you're a stranger to me, and I'm standing there and I transfer it into your account now.
Yeah. Then I give you the keys.
It would lodge in your account within, like, depending on the time of day, it would lodge in your account within a few hours.
Yeah, I wouldn't see that. It's not like the van out there is worth, it's not like $5,000 and you could probably say, look, bring it in cash. They're worth considerably more, If you were getting a new Cali game, would you go for the 4Motion again or 100? Well, I have the 4Motion and
he'd go for the DIVORCE.
I have the 4Motion and the 200 and something 204 or whatever it is. I don't think it's 204 horsepower. It's whatever it is. Yeah, I would go for it again because of the off-road capability, driving in snow and ice. We haven't really pushed the van in any regard, but then at the same time we don't know because the grip and all that, and we've been in fields and driven on beaches and everything, and we've never had any trouble. But I think that's a combination of me being super careful. But I would only because I like the options of having the bigger motor and the 4Motion. I wouldn't see, again, it's that whole Swiss Army knife thing of they seem essential to me, but they're not essential. I see lots of people saying they're not essential, but to me, for my own peace of mind, driving down some of the places we've driven, knowing it has 4-wheel drive and a big engine to pull us up that hill. And I always remember when we went away the first time we went to Germany, and the van was loaded to the gills. And I went outside and I went, okay, this is going to struggle. You couldn't see, the van didn't drop or anything like that. The springs, no issues with the height, and it drove as if it was empty. It's just a monster. It is, the power. It's just unbelievable. It's so powerful. And the great thing about it as well is that for accelerating and maneuvering on the motorways and all that kind of stuff, it is just an animal. And I like that. I've had a few scares in smaller engine cars, and I wouldn't. Is that
why you don't like driving my car?
I wouldn't do anything below 2 liters because
my car's very nippy though.
Yeah, but you see, when you're driving on the motorway and everything, you need that extra, for merging. I see it all the time. I was driving yesterday, right, and I was merging, and I was merging onto the motorway. And so when you're driving along and someone's merging, right, you can see them, right? So what the merging lane, you're talking, you must have like a couple of 100 meters anyway. So you either pull out, slow down, or speed up, right? So you can judge. But what happened was, your man was in my blind spot beside me, and it was only when I was pulling, I looked and I saw him, right, he was right beside me. He was right here as I was merging.
So people don't
he was doing
drive.
The same speed as me. So then what I had to do was, and I had 2 options. I either had to slow down and then get in behind him, but I was running out of road. So
did you not drive along like that?
No. So what I did is I floored it, and the Passat goes like a bat out of hell. So it took off like a hot snot. But that's what you need. You need. I find you need a bit of power. That's the thing. But again, that's just me being me. I think if you had 150 horsepower, which is huge, and 2-wheel drive, anyone who ever gets those, no one ever complains. If
you're on a motorway with idiot drivers that don't know how to merge, you're still going to come up against the same issue.
Yeah, well, look, I just personally, I think I always envisaged the van being hugely heavy and loaded to the gills, and was driving up mountains in Switzerland and full of snow. But so far it's had the easiest life in the world. I ordered a Coast with my 2 mainly as my primary driver. Okay, yeah, I've considered, now that we're not paying for it, changing the insurance over. I've considered it.
I wouldn't,
because it wouldn't be that thing. I remember my dad's 2-cylinder NSU in the 70s. We took it to the Alps and had to get out to lighten the load on the mountains. I believe that. Hi guys, I bought a car private in the UK and went to the bank with the draft. We were ushered to a machine which was gobbled it up, and we're just left looking at each other.
Oh God.
Yeah, but I'm sure the bank would. I'm sure the bank would help you out. But yeah, you see, that's your worst nightmare, isn't it? That is your worst nightmare. So, actually, someone asked me a question during the week on the channel. They'd ordered a van, and they were getting them pop up the manual pop up roof, and then saying about the weight limits on it. So if anyone has any information, I couldn't find anything about the weight limits on the pop up roof, but it'd be useful to know. I know it's like a 50 kg on the electric roof, but this person, I know where they are mentally, in that they're getting the van and they're not sure, and then they're afraid of the roof coming down if they load it up and stuff like that. But I think the roofs can take a huge amount of weight, and like some of the storms we've slept through, like those roofs are well put on.
For sure, that one last year when we were.
It was an actual storm, remember?
Yeah.
That was the one that damaged the door.
Yeah.
Down in Dungarvan. Yeah, the wind caught it. I opened it and the wind caught it. I don't know how it didn't pull my arm off. Couldn't get the 80-litre petrol tank due to the weight. Yeah, I wanted the bigger tank as well. We've really gone down the road to talk about the van. Right, so Vanessa, that took 40 minutes. Oh God!
You do like to talk.
Oh God! Right. The next 19 minutes are solely dedicated to Vanessa talking about weight gains and considerations. What?
Don't put me under pressure.
Well, you know I say that. I'll probably stay quiet for about 30 seconds or something like that. Go on. So just to remind people what it was, Vanessa was saying that she was concerned about her weight. You had those kind of weight hang-ups. You weren't anorexic or bulimic or anything like that. You were
No.
Right.
But I definitely would have. So I suppose a bit of background, like my aunties, all my mum's sisters would have been grossly overweight.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they? And they all had diabetes and stuff like that. So my mum had a lot of hang-ups about her weight, which in turn, although she's a feeder and she'd drive you mad, she'd stand there feeding
Irish mammy.
Yeah, she'd stand there feeding you while she's going, no, I'm grand, I don't want anything to eat. I'm putting on weight. And she was always on the diet when we were growing up. Always on the diet.
Your mother was.
Yeah, and she'd think nothing of telling you if you were putting on a little bit of weight either. So we were always very aware of our weight growing up.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, like, to be fair to her, she didn't do anything like that maliciously. Do you know what I mean? She was just kind of going, like, you can't put on weight, because obviously she was watching her sisters all the time growing up, and they were, like, every one of them was overweight. There wasn't one of them, apart from herself. She was the only one, including her two brothers, that wasn't overweight. You know, that way. So we would have been always very aware of it. So I used to weigh myself every single day. Every day. And what I'd do is, if I was over 7.5 stone, I wouldn't eat that day, to try and lose the pound or the half a pound or whatever it might be. Now, obviously, not knowing that that's not how you lose weight. You know, that way. Like, obviously, it is how you lose weight. You starve yourself. It is how you lose, but it's not how you healthily.
Well, you could
weight.
lose a pound by starving yourself, because the glycogen associated, the water locked up in. So if you burn off your carbohydrate that's stored in your muscles, you could lose a pound in a day.
Yeah, but then when you eat,
it all comes back on. Yeah,
it all goes back on, and the body kind of holds on to some of it as well. For it goes into starvation mode. So,
but like, how long were you doing this for?
I'd say up until close to before I met you. I'd say actually probably until I met you, in and around then. Because you have to remember, even when we first start going out, like, I ate very little.
Well, you had real funny eating habits. What you ate.
There's certain things I eat as well. Yeah.
You're a very narrow range of foods, whereas I'd eat dubious dead still long enough. Yeah, I'd eat anything. There's about one. I mean, even the things I would never like, I like now. Cauliflower, I used to hate it, and cheese, and now I love it.
Like, there's still things now that I just wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
I'd still have hang-ups now about. So, like, when I'd have been growing up, I wouldn't eat like most things I wouldn't eat. I can tell you now what I would eat was pasta with a bit of tomato sauce and not ketchup, actual tomato pasta sauce on it. Those little teeny tiny pizzas that he eats. Burger and chips or spaghetti hoops. And they will be what I would eat every day. I'd eat mash. But I didn't like vegetables with it. When my nanny made mash and sprouts, she'd mash it all together for me. I'd eat that.
Yeah, but what was so your mother
but my mom would have been like, oh, you won't like that. Try it though.
No, but like your mother was kind of, she had it in your head not to put on weight.
Yeah.
And you bought into that.
Absolutely, because I'm looking at my aunties and going, oh yeah, I don't want to put on weight. You know, because they were always sick and they were always unhealthy, and they never had kind of fashionable clothes, or, you know, now bearing in mind I was a kid, so these are the types of things that are important to you, you know. But I remember there's a picture of my older sister's wedding, and you can actually see my bones and my shoulders, and you can see like here the bones are all sticking out there, and I'd say I was probably about 7.5, maybe 8 stone, and I was 22, 21. Very, very thin. Very thin.
I don't remember you being that thin. I don't remember you.
I was.
Yeah. Like I don't remember. I know.
Because I have a pair of jeans upstairs that I back then, and like I'd say they haven't fit me in since probably we started going out, maybe a year after we were going out.
Well, yeah, but I see. Okay, you're older.
Now I have them. I don't want to ever get back into them. I just have them. I've just kept them. But I don't like trying that now.
You've had a baby. You're older, and you're living with me. And you're not, and you're a fitness instructor as well. So I'd say I don't know, but like you're healthy, and you have the right weight, and you don't seem to watch your diet or calorie count now. So,
no.
But yeah.
And for the longest time, we never had weighing scales in the house.
No.
I only have the scales because I would have used it for PT, and I took it in out of the van. And
then what happened? How did you go to how did you move on gradually, presumably, right? Because I didn't notice any of this. How did you move on to eating normally and not worrying about your weight?
Probably, I suppose, when I started to understand that, like, just because you eat, it doesn't mean you're going to put on weight. Do you know what I mean? It's everything in moderation. It's not kind of eating loads and loads and loads. And I suppose on some level as well, I probably turned into a bit of a feeder then as well.
With me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you enjoy that.
Well, it's a desperately bad combination for me. I love the food you make, and you like feeding me, so it's a desperately bad combination. Yeah. No, it's I don't know. See, I think if I think back to when I met you, you were you didn't strike me as overly thin or anything like that. See, again, like I'm overweight. You're probably overweight for your weight, because I studied nutrition in college.
No, I'm not overweight.
Okay. And then I remember when I got onto the scales, they were measuring our weights, and I got onto the scale. So I'm 6 foot on the button, right? And I think when I was in college, I might have been, I can't remember, I think it was about 11.5 or 12 stone or something like that. Right? The light was super light in comparison to now. And then I said to the nutritionist, I'd probably come up as anorexic or something, joking, right? Thinking, and she said, no, for your height, she said, you're in the right zone. For somebody 6 foot, you should really only be 11.5 stone. And I was going, really? And she said, yeah, because that's the muscle mass and your bone, and then after that, then you're just gaining weight. But that therein, from then on in, I started to gain weight in that slowly but surely. I started to, as you discover beer, steaks and burgers, and as you get a bit of money.
But you have to remember as well that BMI is only used really for, doctors use it to kind of whether people are borderline heart attack issues. and they use it for as well for kind of operating and stuff like that, for all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, like we had to learn it when I was doing the personal training, but we were basically told you need to learn this for the day. You don't use it with someone who clearly isn't heavily overweight, because you'll give them a complex. And what you do is, because, so say there's people there, right, and they clearly have lost loads and loads and loads of weight, but their scales isn't moving. It's because they're gaining muscle. So they're shrinking down. So you can see them shrinking, but what you can actually see is they're gaining muscle. The muscle is taking up less space than the fat. But you know that saying, muscle weighs less than fat? Obviously it's wrong, because a pound of muscle is a pound.
No, muscle weighs more than fat.
Muscle weighs more than fat. But it's wrong as well,
is a pound,
because a pound is a pound, no matter what way you look at it. It just takes up less space. And that's what. So I could jump on the scales and I'd be 9.5 stone. Obviously not now, but I've actually never been 9.5 stone. I'd be 9 stone, say. I'd get on the scales and I'd be 9 stone. And then I mightn't train for a few weeks. But and then I drop weight. But what I'm losing, I'm not gaining weight. What I'm actually losing is muscle. Do you know what I mean?
but I think you're kind of glossing over, as you do, right? You've skipped through, now maybe
Judgmental.
you've skipped through the psychological bit, and then you're kind of explaining your way around it, like, you're giving me the kind of the summary on the back of the book stuff, like, so what was
you start talking about weight, so that's all
I know, but like,
continuing the
I know, but
conversation.
but you were definitely going somewhere deeper last week, and now you've kind of glossed over it. So what's
You should have talked to me last week about it, then, shouldn't you? Not.
You brought it up at the very end of the show. So you brought it up, and we're running out of time again, very conveniently. You got
well,
me.
you did talk consistently for 40 minutes.
You got me talking about that damn van. So, but like, were you suicidal, or were you kind of, were you really caught up in it and everything? Like young women are, anyway. Well, not, I don't know, but like young women are conscious of their figure and everything like that.
I absolutely would have been very, very aware of my figure.
Yeah.
Very aware of it.
Why though?
I wouldn't say.
Why?
I don't know what you mean by why. Why wouldn't I be?
Well, why? Yeah, but why were you conscious of your figure? Like before me, like you had a boyfriend before me. So you had, like, you've only ever really had a relationship with two people. So
why was I conscious of it?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to look well.
Yeah.
That's why.
And
Go
on, come on, V. Spill the beans. Spit it out.
Not everything needs to be as deep as you think it is.
Everything is deep, V. Everything is deep. It is deep.
It doesn't sometimes. A cigar is just a cigar,
No,
Joe.
a cigar is never just a cigar with
It
people.
is.
It's not. It's always something else. There's always some... Because the fact is that you've changed over the years, that you're not as conscious as it used to be. Like, we're only marveling tonight over dinner that you were eating beans.
I know.
So you had it wasn't only, you used to say that it's not so much the flavour of the beans, it's the consistency. So you had a real thing with cheese. And
I still don't like cheese.
Yeah. So you definitely had some kind of hang-ups about the whole thing.
But again, it's more textures, consistency, stuff like that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And then an awful lot of it stew probably was with my mum's cooking. I just didn't like my mum's cooking. So maybe I didn't like those foods.
Yeah.
The way she was cooking them.
Yeah.
But no, the waiting. No, I just wanted to look well. I didn't want to look overweight or.
So she drummed that into
fat.
you, or had you just or what?
I don't think she drummed it into me. I think inadvertently it was an issue, but it was never like, you don't get fat. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
because there's two, like, on a subconscious level, because she was always on diets and my older sister was always on diets and always battling with her weight, it would have been I would have been very, very aware of not to put on weight. You know that way?
Well, my experience of weight is my weight fluctuates, but it's linked to my fads, right? But I think the thing for me was that this is the thing about people losing weight that I feel sorry for them, about them. So I gained weight and then I was getting heavier and heavier, and it was only when I started to lose weight that people used to really go on about it. And then I'd go home to my mother's house and she'd say to me, "Oh, you're losing too much weight," you know. And then people equate weight loss with sickness. They think you've got cancer or something, right? That's what happens. You start to lose weight and then you get thin, and then to them you look sick. They're gonna, oh, and you kind of go, no, I'm actually the healthy weight. So for me, if I was down to 11.5 stone, I'd be very thin, but I'd be a healthy thin in that it'd be lean. I wouldn't have all this visceral fat around my abdomen and clogging up my things and releasing toxins into me that'll kill me one day. So, but people kind of go, oh,
it's okay though. You'd be getting driven off the cliff some more.
But people do associate that then with kind of like they think there's something wrong with you, and then they start getting concerned. But you're kind of going, well, which is it? Like, you know, there's this kind of, so people would say to me, don't lose any more weight than you are already. And the thing I'd want to say to them is, it's none of your business. If I want to drop down to 8 stone and look like a lollipop, I don't care. But it's none of your business. Stay out of it. And they kind of go, oh, well, I'm concerned. And you're not really. Because if you're concerned, you'd say nothing. In that, like, I'm running marathons. You know what I mean? I'm doing loads of training and watching what I eat. And trust me, I'm never going to be anorexic because I like food too much. In part of the reason I took up running was so that I could eat more. Right? But it's just one of those things that people do kind of.
You just hadn't ran for a while.
Well, people start to wreck your head when you do start to lose weight. But saying that, I have been guilty of it. There's a guy I work with, and he's very heavy, and he did lose a lot of weight, and it started to change, and you start kind of going. Now again, the temptation is there to say, it's not. He looked thin because he's so heavy. His gels and all started to sag. But also he hadn't bought new clothes, so all his clothes were hanging off, so he didn't look right. Whereas I think if you're going to lose
I think
weight,
when you do that, you do start to look sick.
Yeah,
your clothes are hanging off you, and you do start to look tired as well on some level. Yeah,
but then a few months later he'd put it all back on and the rest. You see, so on some level, that's psychologically losing weight is very difficult.
Your weight is nothing to do with the food; it's more to do with what's going on in there.
Well, the combination between us is that I like food and you're a feeder. So one or both of us lacks discipline. And I blame you. So let's see what's going on. And then we'll head off into the wild sunset. Triple whammy, 5'4" and 8 stone, 75 when I got married. 75? Okay. Well done, Laura. Your mammy taught you to be a feeder. My fat is a wine lake around my belly. Not in the Oval Office. Okay. Did she boil the cabbage for 3 hours?
No, I don't know.
Life changer was low carbs for me. Yeah, no heartburn, which plagued me. Yeah, very good. And the intermittent fasting is excellent. Give up meat, right? If you want to lose weight quickly, give up meat, right? Because that will cut out things like burgers and sausages and all that and all the bad. But that intermittent fasting is excellent. That works really, really well. And it's kind of interesting. But again, they're all fads. They're all just fads. Would need to be a good friend before I would recommend I could comment on anyone's weight. Yeah, it's like, psychological, you know, eating, especially for people who are comfort eating, and it's a comfort drinking or smoking or doing whatever you do. If you're doing that for comfort, and there's a psychological aspect.
It's a crutch.
There's a psychological. So anyway, we're out of time. We're out of time. We will we won't see you then next week. And yeah, Laura says she forgot you were here. So we won't see you next week because we're going to take Friday off. We'll be busy eating low-fat Easter eggs. And we'll be back the week after. You guys will probably be all out of lockdown, so you won't be on at all. So we probably won't see you again. we'll still be in
So we're back
lockdown.
in lockdown.
They're up to they've 57 people inoculated in Ireland now. It's going gangbusters. It's fantastic. So we'll be out of lockdown by 2027 or something like that. That's great.
But if
Brilliant.
you remember, we were watching the news there
See you,
about
Dave.
6 months ago, and it was like the scientist guy said by 2023 or something like that, and you and I were looking at each other going, no, he has to be wrong. I don't think so.
Yeah. Don't forget to do your clocks this weekend. Hopefully this is the last one. I hate it.
Now I don't like the clocks because you.
Happy Easter as well. Good man, pharmacists do it over
It's not
camp.
that I don't
Happy
like the clocks
Easter.
because they're bad, it's because you're always moaning
Bye,
about
guys.
them.
Bye.
Have a
Bye.
lovely Easter. Thank you.
Aaron, you were there, good man. I was going to say Aaron wasn't there. Good night, Aaron.
You only popped in to say goodbye.
Stay.
Aye.
Very quiet Aaron was tonight, wasn't he? Very
I
quiet.
was listening.
So, good night.
That Johnny Decahedron.
Okay. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody.
Slán
Graham.
left.
Oh, Graham, look. Good man.
Can I say something
Goodbye.
as well?
Go on, yeah.
I'm gonna type it.
Yep, but let that do his first killer.
Yeah, go on. Okay. Our clocks changed 2 weeks ago. Oh, yeah. So we'll be back in sync with you. Sort of.
Make sure you're only putting the letters you need in.
Yeah,
Christian.
yeah. Look, you've just.
I didn't mean to.
See you, Laura.
Bye.
You have buy camper vans. And it's a van, is it?
Donate money.
Christian.
I was going to log off. Everyone's going to be gone.
Now there's more people.
No,
There's
there's not.
19 now.
Right, so I'm going to log off. Now, let me see now.
Bye, Laura.
Stay safe. V is looking good. She always does. She
Can't
always
see the
does.
belly from
She
there
always
though.
does.
You can't see the belly from there though.
You'd have to show everyone the belly the next time.
Yeah.
Right now, see,
It's
I
like-
click end here. Goes yes, but it's not really ended.
No.
And it only ends when